So there it is, the start of the elimination final, ladies and gentlemen. We're off and running. And Eric Grove gets the second touch of the ball. A handoff from Paul Taylor. Parramatta winning the toss, electing to run from the Randwick end. And the breeze quite strong from behind them. This is Cronin. And already the Canterbury defence milling in. Langmack, Farah and Hagan the tacklers. A penalty goes immediately to Parramatta against the Canterbury markers, not standing one behind the other. Well, of course, the bad luck story of this match has already unfolded in that their champion 5/8 come lock forward Terry Lamb is on the sidelines. He's with Graham Hughes right now.
Terry, obviously, if it's a win today to the Bulldogs, what are the chances next weekend in the grand final for Terry Lamb?
Well, I'll do a heap of treatment on it this week, Graham, and we'll see what happens. I hope I'm out there for sure.
A couple more hurdles for the Bulldogs today, even though you are out. Two bad first halves in a row at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Yes, well, I think maybe over nerves, or we just don't know what happens there, but I think they're going to be a lot better this week. Strong
breeze favouring the Eels.
Yeah, I think we've got to watch that, especially Sterling kicks. He's a very good kicker in general play, and just hope we can keep him down there.
Who else are they going to look for?
Kenny's the key man out there, I think. If he doesn't fire, I don't think they will.
Good luck for today, and hopefully next weekend.
Thanks, Graham.
There's the first of, or one of the first kicks off the boot of Peter Sterling. It's fielded by Michael Potter. He's on a mission across the ground. He finds Callanan playing in easily his biggest rugby league match ever. Joined the Bulldogs from Newcastle this year and has been added to the side to add some pace to the Canterbury backline. Peter Kelly takes it ahead as we say good afternoon and welcome to Bill Anderson.
Good afternoon, Ray. No doubt we're going to be treated to a tremendous game here. I'm sure that Canterbury Bankstown have got a slight edge in the forwards, but that's going to be offset by the advantage that Parramatta hold in the back line. I expect those two aspects of play to cancel themselves out, and in the end, the final result will depend upon the team with the best kicking game.
Parramatta coming up with some loose ball. Significant to note as Bill Anderson reminds us of the Canterbury power in their forwards, that Ray Price, just before kick-off, called his team together, and he only wanted to prolong the conversation with his forwards as Cronin puts it down. Yes, Price held the forwards together for a lasting chat. This scrum is to pack about 10 metres on the Canterbury side of the halfway, and Mortimer will feed. You can expect them to win it. Canterbury. Roberts calling this scrum up. He wants it back where he set it. Mike Mosley had a problem in the match against Balmain. This is Hagan, taken low by Ella. Up the top is Taylor and Price. Big match for Michael Hagan too. He's had a good year, but of course the cricket ground and finals, they're altogether different. And as Terry Lamb reminded us of Brett Kenny being the key man for Parramatta, I was able to pick up a couple of beautiful tackles, strong stuff by Langmack on Kenny in the opening exchanges a couple of minutes back. Here's Mortimer turning it back to the blind for Johnson. Played back for Potter to go away from dummy half, but he's run into Ella. And play is now 32 metres out on 5 as they look to come back the blind, and Farah puts in the kick. It's a high one. It'll go out on the full most definitely. So that's a pretty ordinary kick by Andrew Farah. Lower grades, Parramatta won the 23s, 23-14, and Canberra, a history-making victory in the final, defeating Parramatta in reserves 18-8, taking the first Raiders side ever into a rugby league grand final. Roberts blowing the whistle. There's something going on in there that we're not aware of. Now we are. It's Mosley and Johnston. You're closer to it than we are, Gray.
Well, Ray, there was plenty of uppercuts going in there from the blindside front rows on that occasion. Peter Kelly's the man. 2 and 3 punches went in searching for Michael Mosley, I'm sure.
Looking at Mosley wiping his face, they connected too. But as Kelly decides to let the fists do the work, that could also augur badly for them in the final penalty count. It's amazing when a player gets offside with a referee early how it can weigh a team down. This is Growth to play it now. 15 metres into Canterbury's territory. Through to Sterling and on to Kenny. And Kenny dummies and finds Cronin. Cronin is held and put to ground by the 14 Hagan. And up the top, Chris Mortimer. This is Paul Taylor. Taylor pinches 5 metres. Takes play about 10 metres into Canterbury's area. He'll play the ball back to hooker and acting half Mosley. A dummy open. They go now with Sharp. And Sharp is the man tackled underneath that Canterbury defence of Batiste and Johnston, both in headbands. Across, oh, Peter Wynn, I don't know what he was doing. He must have forgotten to read the script on that particular play. And it's Andrew Farrow who plays the ball just outside his 22. Steve Mortimer gets out from dummy half, but is tackled by Mosley and Sterling. And now Johnston works it the same way to Steve Folkes. How long could they leave him out of the side for? It was only a question of time. The unfortunate thing, of course, David Gillespie is now on the bench, and he is a player who's had a magnificent year. But Steve Folkes, well, that's something else, isn't it? This is Callanan, light stepping from a tackle, but held on the halfway. Played by him, and across now for Mortimer. Mortimer decides to kick, and it's gone into a very big space in the middle of the winger and Taylor, and this is Growth, who comes out to be tackled 15 away from the Parramatta line. Well, already Parramatta are away to a better start than they were at Belmore when Canterbury inflicted that demoralising defeat upon them. I think it was 19-4, was it not? And this is Laurie struggling free from tackle after tackle before Big Peter Tunks comes over the top with a cruncher. Mortimer was down below, and they continue to work the blind, and again he's caught them offside out in the centres. It's another Parramatta penalty. Third penalty of the match, and 3 straight penalties to Parramatta. As Cronin takes the kick for touch, not looking for very much. He finds it about 9 metres down the ground. The tap taken by Mosley. There goes Growth. He lost his footing in a soft patch, and it is distinctly soft, or softer, just on the edge of the cricket pitch area, which has been covered, and it's quite dry. And there's Wynn again dropping the ball. So Wynn has had a terrible start to this final. Johnston, Mortimer, Langmack, Price and Sharp go in. Well, Peter Wynn's confidence must be at rock bottom at the moment. He's touched it twice, and twice he's dropped it. And now it's come back inside for Farah. And the middle was blocked up effectively by Laurie. Price had a share of it, so did Jerd, but Tunks presses onward. Kenny is around the legs, and Hagan sweeps it to Mortimer, and it's gone to Farah, but the defence again comes in, mauling over the top. Taylor underneath, the main instigator of the stoppage on Farah. From Mortimer, a cutout ball across through Folkes and Hagan. It's now with Langmack, and he makes a good run of about 10. Turns it in for Potter, but sold him a dump, and Potter will play it on 5. 33 metres out.
Warren Ryan wouldn't be disappointed with the start made by Canterbury Bankstown. They're looking quite good.
There's the kick by Stephen Folkes. It's not going to cause a great deal of problem for Peter Sterling. He meets it under the pressure. It's a penalty to Parramatta. They were in front of the kicker. Now Johnston apparently has gone in for a little bit more than just the tackle on Sterling. Let's see it again. Not on that shot, you couldn't see it, but Billy Johnston was spoken to by one of the Parramatta players as if to say, get off him, haven't you had enough? And it's Cronin who takes the line kick. Keep in mind that Parramatta has got a good, strong breeze at their back in the first 40 minutes. They've used up nearly 10 minutes of it. It's still 0-all as Growth again works his way into the middle off the tap.
I'm surprised really that Parramatta haven't kicked the ball more. It's quite obvious that Canterbury are going to be very strong in their defence, and one of the ways you can offset that's to kick the ball and give it to that side so that they use up all their energy in possession. But Parramatta have been quite content to hold the ball for as long as they possibly can and kick it on very late in the tackle count.
Now here's Sharp playing the ball, thanking somebody for standing on his hand in the process, and this is Sharp again met by Batiste. He gets it out the back but this is good defence by Canterbury. They're moving up, and Parramatta are in fact losing ground when in possession, so they've got a kick. Sterling feeds it away to Laurie. Laurie has probably been their most effective forward in attack so far, but as far as giving the ball to the backs is concerned, they've lost ground. Kenny now. David Lydiard. Lydiard's into touch, and that's going to be a Canterbury feed to a scrum 5 metres on the Parramatta side of halfway. Steve Ella's in trouble back there. In fact, here at the cricket ground in the grand final, it was about this far into the match that Steve Ella damaged his knee. Looks like trainer Graham Richards is looking at the hip area as Canterbury win the scrum. Keep in mind that Parramatta is down a player, and this is Chris Mortimer tackled by Ray Price. It's gone across now to Hagan. Hagan holding it back. Kenny drives in, and Hagan is tackled midway between 22 and halfway as Ella limps back into a position. Here's Potter. Potter's inside the quarter. This is looking good for Canterbury. Billy Johnston was ankle tapped by Michael Mosley. The Eels are at 6s and 7s. Are they shot to pieces? They're not. Not just yet anyway. They're a metre out from the line as the ball is played. It's gone across quickly to Mortimer. The Eels have come up very quickly. Have they come up too quickly? Mortimer is tackled 2 metres out. That's the first tackle. Peter Tunks. Oh, he got a shepherd, I thought, from Mortimer. He's going to give the try. He's given the try. Well, I said it in the commentary, and I'm going to wait for the head-on. But it looked to me very much like he got a shepherd off the man who played the ball, and I don't think there's any doubt about it.
There's no doubt about it whatsoever. He cannoned into the man that had played the ball, Peter Tunks. That stopped any chance whatsoever that Parramatta had of effecting a tackle. Steve Sharp pleaded with the referee, but it wasn't forthcoming.
Roberts gave the try. Peter Tunks goes down in the record books as scoring it. But if that wasn't an obstruction to the defence, then I don't know what is. Mind you, let me hasten to add that it was sustained and good pressure applied by Canterbury that took them to a metre out from the line, and Parramatta were down a man. Ella is still very much under the scrutiny of the trainer Graham Richards. He's in a lot of pain, Steve Ella. Is history repeating itself here at the cricket ground? And Richards has indicated
he's gone,
that Ella is gone. So Neil Hunt will come into the side, and I would think just drop straight into the centre position.
Well, it's a huge blow for Parramatta at this early stage of the match, and I suppose what started out as a game where Parramatta appeared favourites now is back to even money.
I think you're being over-generous. I think you're forgetting that it's 4-0 already to Canterbury, and it could well be 6. If Farah kicks this, it will be. 15 in from touch, hits it nicely, but it's gone away with that breeze, I would think, and so the scoreline is 4 points to 0. Neil Hunt coming on for Steve Ella. He'll play in the centres. 4-0 Canterbury leading. Watching Hunt as he goes across to his position. Yes, he's dropped straight into the centres. Cronin has the ball placed and sends it deep down into Canterbury territory for Michael Potter to bring it back. Peter Mortimer. And there's Steve Ella, a despondent young man at the moment. Why wouldn't you be? Twice he's taken on Canterbury in crunch matches here at the cricket ground. And twice he's been taken off almost exactly at the same time.
I think apart from the effect that it's obviously going to have on Parramatta, there's the converse effect that it's going to have on Canterbury Bankstown. This is just the sort of start that Warren Ryan would have been looking to. He's got a good start on the scoreboard. The Canterbury players now can look up and say that Parramatta have been severely depleted, just as they have when they lost Terry Lamb during the week, and they'd be playing now with a lot of confidence.
Here's Taylor losing the ball. Uncustomary drop of the ball by Taylor. I thought that was definitely a knock-on from Taylor, but Roberts has allowed it to go. It's gone quickly to Kenny, on to Lydiard, and Lydiard is tackled just outside the 22. What's the story on Steve Ella, Graham?
Well, without trying to insinuate anything at all, Ray, he said he did cop a boot in the back. He wasn't sure how it occurred. That was the problem.
So it's Mosley across through Taylor to Sterling, and a cutout ball to Cronin, and on Cronin to Price.
We've already had one change in the Parramatta team, and I just saw the Peter Tunks run to the sideline and had words with the Canterbury trainer, and it may well be we're going to have another change in the Canterbury team in the near future.
Here's Peter Wynn playing the ball. That's the first time he's held the ball cleanly all day. Here's Sterling now kicking, sending it down to Michael Potter, and Potter will come away from his 22. He's outside the 32, going across the ground. But there in cover is Brett Kenny, and held by David Lydiard and put down eventually by Paul Taylor. Callanan is the man with the ball. He got away from Taylor, but Kenny makes the tackle with Mosley. What's the story on Tunks, Graham?
Well, the message to the sideline was that he's copped a knee or a boot also, this time on the hip bone. He's having trouble stretching out. The message has already been sent to the dressing room for David Gillespie.
Here's Folks now with the ball on the halfway line. Played back to Billy Johnston, across to Steve Mortimer, now to Brian Batiste, and Batiste is tackled around the legs by Mosley. Win over the top with Jerd. And Canterbury gaining no ground whatsoever in that particular passage. Now they come the same way, and Farah drops it on, and it's gone out again on the full off the boot of Andrew Farah. Here comes Gillespie out for Canterbury.
I think the surprising thing here is that Andrew Farah is the man that's been designated by Canterbury to put up bombs and take the kicks for touch, and it must mean that there is an injury to Steve Mortimer. Mortimer normally would carry out those duties.
There goes Tunks from the field.
Number 15, David Gillespie, is the Canterbury replacement for Peter Tunks.
Clash of heads there as Billy Johnson tries to get into the scrum.
No place for the faint-hearted in the middle.
Roberts calling them in ground. Fed by Sterling and won by, well, no, he wants it in again, same tunnel. I know John Money was concerned about Peter Sterling's feeding of the scrums against Balmain. And there it is again. Won by Canterbury against the feed. A big hit by Kenny on Potter. That might have stung Potter a little bit too. Here's Peter Mortimer.
You were just starting to say, Ray, that was a problem that Parramatta had last week, where Mosley lost 3 scrums against the head, and they won't be able to afford to do that today.
And I was about to also tell you that it wasn't so much Mosley they were concerned about, but the feed of the scrum by Sterling. This is Mortimer. Price, Laurie and Wynn making the tackle. No marker, but he still played it backwards, Mortimer. That surprises me. Johnston kicks ahead. He was knocked over late, but the referee said, I saw it and play on. Here's David Lydiard. Let's have another look at Billy Johnson as he kicks the ball. And, well, Roberts has maintained that I saw it, play on. There was nothing in it. Peter Wynn appeared as well. He certainly got a hand to him and then went soft on it.
I think we can read into the fact that Mortimer didn't run when he had the opportunity. He could have played the ball forward, and also that he's not kicking the ball very much in general play, to the fact that he is carrying quite a severe groin injury.
Here's Sterling putting the kick up. It's going straight to Potter. Well positioned young Michael Potter as he comes back to the halfway. He beats 1, he beats 2. Kenny is left to make the tackle. 10 metres into Parramatta's territory. Through Steve Mortimer. It's gone to Michael Hagan. Off the left foot. He's away from the tackle by Laurie. Gets the ball away. Callanan knocks on. And it's going to be a scrum about 32 metres out from the Parramatta line. Do you think he's all right, Graham, Steve Mortimer?
Well, whether he is or he isn't, I think Billy's really trying to read something into this. I don't know what he wants him to do. Just prior to the Peter Tunks try, he made a half break 10 yards out. He ran about 10 or 15 metres prior to getting tackled when he got to play the ball the last time. He ran away from Peter Wynn, and the defence had to go and chase him. I don't know what this guy's got to do.
Well, this is Cronin now. 10 metres his side of the halfway. Now it's Mosley. Sterling. dummy to Growth, and he tries to step back inside. Finds Sharp. Now they spread it. Laurie can't catch it cleanly. The Eels bumbling their way around at the moment, and don't just put it down to the fact that they can't pass and catch. Most of this can be put down to this solid Canterbury defence that's standing up and pressing and applying pressure. And that, of course, makes you have a little bit of a look. And that then brings mistakes. Here's Potter giving the ball to Callanan. Taylor's got him, boots and all. Players just outside the Canterbury 22 line as it comes across to Steve Mortimer, and on it goes to Gillespie. Good hard tackle over the top by Price on a low tackle from Laurie. Play hasn't advanced very far up the ground as Brian Batiste takes it to the 32, and Ray Price again makes the tackle. You reckon he hasn't made some in the opening minutes? Across through Mortimer, over through Hagan. It's gone out to Chris Mortimer, and Taylor is around the legs, and Lydiard up the top. Michael Potter is tackled, gets the ball back to Chris Mortimer. He was tackled by an offside player, Paul Taylor. Steve Mortimer off the knees, gets it to Billy Johnston. Brett Kenny goes in and makes a crunching tackle. 5 tackles gone now against Canterbury as Steve Mortimer comes into the kicking role. He puts the kick in. Sterling is looking at it. He's going to have to take it back, Sterling. He's on his own 10-metre line. They'll give him plenty when they get him. And Sterling has tackled 5 metres inside the 22. Good thinking by him. He submitted as he was 1 on about 5. Here's Lydiard away from 1, but going across the field, and that's an easy way for a defence man to get you. Out now to Taylor and on to Cronin. Cronin comes down the ground towards the 22. He's tackled there by Brian Batiste. Over the top was Gillespie. And now it's Neil Hunt out from dummy half, gaining about 5 metres. Back it goes to Mosley, who only just has the ball. Parramatta trying to do little things like squeezing passes out in a position on the field that really isn't designed for it. Here's Stephen Sharp now with the ball, and Sharp is tackled on 5, and so they've battered their way for 5 tackles, and I'll tell you exactly how far they've gone. They've gone 18 metres up the ground before they kick on the final tackle. Sterling's kick is going down towards the Canterbury 22 line, where it's Callanan who'll be asked to take it back. The Parramatta defence has got him well and truly ringed as he gets a wide ball out to Peter Mortimer. He slices into an opening, and look at Peter Mortimer go up to the halfway. Now he's held near the halfway line, but it was a very big opening that presented itself for Peter Mortimer. Paul Langmack dummies and goes himself. He dummies twice. So shades of Brett Kenny really from Paul Langmack as he uses Michael Hagan to take it down to the quarter-way line. Now it's played on the second. It's gone across through Billy Johnston, Steve Mortimer, and now it's with Stephen Folkes. And Folkes is tackled by Stan Jerd. Over the top was Peter Wynn. Away goes Johnston again. Sterling has got him with Mosley. Players on the Parramatta 22. It's all been Canterbury Bankstown. 17 minutes of the first half remaining as Kelly is tackled on 5, and they're about 15 metres out from the line. The bomb will probably come here, and there it... No, he's gone for drop goal. It came off a Parramatta player. Neil Hunt has to clean it up, and he'll play it 8 metres out from his own line. From dummy half runs Taylor. Taylor stands, pops it back from Mosley. Mosley is tackled by Folkes. 4-0 in favour of Canterbury, a try to Peter Tunks. Since replaced by David Gillespie, as Peter Wynn is now tackled. Canterbury's defence, it's mean, it's enthusiastic. It's coming up very, very quickly, forcing error and certainly punishing Parramatta. This is Steve Sharp now on the 22 line. Ball played back to Mosley. Spun to Sterling. Sterling gets the kick in earlier this time. It looks like it might find touch. It's getting down, but no, it's straightened up, and it's Potter who's going to take it back. He comes to Growth and tries to beat Growth, but Growth puts him down. Just on the Canterbury side of the halfway. Across it goes to Hagan. Hagan looks to go, or looks to pass, but then goes back into the forward area. Well, of course, Tunks has already been replaced by Gillespie, but still Canterbury Bankstown have got an absolute wealth of talent sitting up there. Look at them. Guerin is there. Gould is sitting up the back. There's heaps of talent. Heaps of talent there on that Canterbury bench. So it's played by Langmack to Johnston. To the blind side for Kelly. And Kelly is tackled by Laurie over the top. Sharp was involved in the tackle. Johnston dummies to the blind, works it open side. Farrer's kick is high. This will put some pressure on Sterling, but he goes up and takes it and weathers the storm. Beautiful take by Sterling. Have a look at it again on the NEC replay. This little man, the Parramatta number 7, in doubt until this morning. And here's Taylor, his lookalike, working it out to about 9 metres from the halfway. It's a handy break for Canterbury to lead 4-0, running into a stiff breeze. As this ball goes loose, and Mark Laurie is there to pick it up for Parramatta. And they try to batter their way up the middle, Parramatta. Played ahead by Mark Laurie. As I said earlier, he's been outstanding in attack from the Parramatta forwards. Certainly playing much more strongly than some of his illustrious teammates in that department. Lost by Mosley. Is Mark Laurie one of the Laurie brothers, or the brothers Laurie? Plenty of them. I lost count. Was it 7 or something? His brother Rocky, I know, is here to watch him play today. And of course, another one of the boys played in the Cronulla under-23s.
It was Richard. A lot of Laurie boys have come from Warhope, and they've all made the top grade.
Kelly getting some attention. So Mortimer feeds, and it's a Canterbury scrum win. It's out to Hagan, and Hagan is met by Kenny. Kenny's going up like lightning in defence, and he's made some very valuable tackles, Brett Kenny. Farah is brought down. There's the missed tackle count. Parramatta 11, Canterbury 6. Here's Peter Kelly, met by Laurie and Taylor. Dummy half Billy Johnston. Steve Mortimer now. Light stepping. Johnston away to Folks. Folks is tackled right around the bootlaces by Michael Mosley. Now it's to Steve Mortimer. It's gone across to Hagan. Hagan sweeps it across, and Chris Mortimer's tackled by Neil Hunt. That was enthusiasm there from Hunt Supreme, in fact. And here's the kick from Canterbury, going down to fine touch just outside the Eels 22.
Ladies and gentlemen,
13.5 minutes of the first half to go. And 4-0 to Canterbury. A try to Peter Tunks. Fed by Sterling, and I think the Eels have won this. They nearly got pushed off it. It's out to Lydiard. Lydiard comes to Hagan, and Hagan makes the tackle with Langmack getting out of his scrum quickly. Played back to Mosley. He decides to go for a dummy half run. There's nothing wrong with that if you can make that many metres. About 6. Playing it back now to Stephen Sharp. Away now to Sterling. A short ball to Win. Win, no gain in ground. The play is just 32 metres out from the Parramatta line. As Jerd comes onto it and takes it up, he gets a shoulder onto Batiste. He threw the ball down on the ground. It was picked up by Mosley. And Mosley now plays the ball on the 4th tackle. Back to Taylor. They continue to work the blind. Win, Cronin. Cronin bumps off one, hands it back to Hunt. Hunt gets it out the back. It's picked up by Ray Price. Price stands and gets it back to Taylor. Taylor to Sterling. Sterling is tackled, gets the pass away to Taylor. Taylor tries to beat them, but look at this Canterbury defence. It's all over the ground. They're really forcing the issue. Here's a penalty to Parramatta now. Now he's called over Stephen Folks to tell... well, he's got him for a high tackle that he must have spotted in the run. He's waited to now to talk to him about it. In the meantime, he's given Parramatta a penalty for this infringement by that was Billy Johnston, in fact. And here's the scrums and penalties. 4-2 the scrums to Canterbury, 1 against the head, and 5-0 the penalties to Parramatta. Away it goes to Kenny. Kenny away to Sharp, and Sharp is met there by this driving Canterbury defence. It must be pleasing the Canterbury camp to see them driving in the way they are.
The further the game goes, the more confidence Canterbury appear to be playing with, and if Parramatta are going to get back into the match, they'll need to score before half-time.
Neil Hunt to play it now. 10 metres into Canterbury's area. Lydiard, the run around on Laurie, but everywhere they go, there's a blue and white jumper there to knock them over or turn them back inside. Here's Jerd going up and being tackled. That's the 4th tackle gone. They're 35 metres out from the line as Sterling works it open side, and it's gone away to Price. Price gives a forward pass, I thought. Yes, he's called it a forward pass, and he's going to put a scrum down. You'll see it quite clearly here on the NEC replay. And the scrum is to pack middle, well, almost in the middle of the ground, between the 22 and halfway on the Canterbury end. Fed by Mortimer and won by Billy Johnston. It's gone back to Potter. Potter gets it away to Hagan. Hagan cut down by Taylor. This is Farrer. Again, a beautiful bootlace tackle by Taylor. Now it's Steve Mortimer away to Hagan. Hagan to Potter. And Potter is tackled by Kenny. 15 metres on the Canterbury side of the halfway. Here's Brian Batiste. And Batiste is tackled about 6 or 7 metres his side of halfway. And Callanan again uses up another play by going to the blind. He had to come back to the open. He's doing quite well, young Callanan. Very similar set of circumstances to Steve O'Brien last year. This is Farrer, and that's the turnover. Canterbury electing to run with the ball for the 6 tackles. Here's Cronin. And Cronin well and truly marked by Brian Batiste and by David Gillespie. First tackle gone for the Eels. Laurie taking it from dummy half. Good. Pulled down by Gillespie. Sterling, Cronin, Lydiard. Oh, good tackle by Callanan. Very good tackle by the youngster. Sterling. His kick going across the ground, and it's a long run back there for Michael Potter, back to his own goal line. Sterling puts everybody on side and makes the tackle. Good performance by Peter Sterling. This is Callanan beating Lydiard. Wynn makes the tackle with Mosley. Potter. This is Chris Mortimer. Mark Laurie, the tackler.
Canterbury aren't playing fancy football. Even their backs really are just playing like forwards, getting, say, 2 off the ruck and hitting the ball up hard. But they're making inroads into this Parramatta defence. It's been a very good start for them. They couldn't have hoped for more.
This is Eric Gross, just outside his 22. What about the defence of the much maligned Parramatta 6, Graham Hughes?
Well, I'm just trying to read that into what Billy was saying about the Canterbury attack. If you notice that every time a Canterbury player gets up to play the ball, there's more or less a queue of guys waiting there to run it from dummy half. They're all showing a lot of confidence with this Parramatta defence. They know that every time they've taken off out of there, they're gaining 5 and 10 yards all the time.
Here's Peter Wynn. That's Sterling. Sterling's kick going over towards the 22 line and the touch line, but Potter will take it back. Laurie and Price, the tacklers. Still nothing in this, just 4-0 in favour of Canterbury. The big plus, of course, for Canterbury is that they have got the breeze to run with in the second half. And looks like Andrew Farrer may have injured a knee or corked a thigh. Andrew Farrer receives attention. Without having a sadistic approach to life, St George is sitting back saying, we don't care how many of these guys look for attention. Billy Johnson, a big dummy away from the dummy half area, and then a run of about 15 metres. And back to the blind they come. A loose pass from Canterbury, one of the very few in their makeup, as Potter beats Jerd easily, and it's left to Price to make the tackle. Played by Potter. Steve Mortimer. It came off the ref. He'll have to put a scrum down. He'll have to put a scrum down. And it will be a Canterbury feed. It'll be a Canterbury feed. The crazy part, well, let's have a look and see where he kicks it from. He kicked it right on the halfway line. Of course, it'll go down and the scrum will be fed by what is called the attacking half. In this case, it is Canterbury. But had it have been a yard earlier, it would have been a Parramatta feed. And here's Mortimer tackled by Kenny, who's made some very valuable tackles from scrums that have been won by Canterbury. Now it's Andrew Farrer. Bootlace tackled by Taylor, and then coming in as Wynn with Mosley. And this is a penalty. Penalty to Canterbury Bankstown against Peter Wynn. All I can take from that is that the referee had called held and Wynn went on with it. Chris Mortimer taking the line kick. Canterbury's first penalty of the match. Farrer. Tempers Price and Sterling. Here's Batiste. Kelly. Langmack. Now it's Folks reaching the 22. Canterbury building up some momentum off this set of 6 following the penalty, and there's a knock on by Hagan, and the scrum will go down just inside the Parramatta 32 line. Knock on by that young man, Michael Hagan, but it wasn't a good ball to give him. Let's see how the Sterling-Mosley combination works here. Roberts having a lot of trouble with these scrums. Parramatta winning it. Kenny goes to the blind. Potter and Steve Mortimer together with Peter Mortimer meet him. Quite a healthy reception committee there for Brett Kenny. Away goes Growth. Strong run by Growth of about 5 metres. Now it's with Sterling and Wynn. Away to Sharp. 10 metres on the Parramatta side of the halfway. Cronin, well and truly marked today, bottled right up. Hunt, across the ground, then that predictable step. Taylor's kick coming off a Canterbury rump, fielded by Cronin. And he's going to order that as the turnover.
It hasn't been flash football at all from Canterbury, but they're doing all the little things very well. And there's a drop ball by them, but I don't think that Parramatta virtually haven't been out of their own half, and there are only 3 minutes to go in this first half of the match.
Here's Price, tackled by Folks. No marker. And Folks comes into it to be penalised. Good work by Stephen Folks. Might sound crazy, but it was to stay out of it. He was only going to give a penalty. That's disciplined football. There was no reason to make a penalty out of a simple play. This is Peter Wynn. The Parramatta fans start to roar their encouragement. Something will have to start working for them shortly as Jerd is tackled on 5. They may even push the football here. Now it's gone to Sterling. He puts up the kick. Callahan's across to cover. It's a deep in goal. It's going to go dead. We're just. It was very cool, calm and collected football from young Callahan. Playing in a match like this, and he showed the patience of Job. Canterbury coach Warren Ryan. Played by Farrer. And Steve Mortimer, now Kelly. Warren Ryan. Kelly is one player that Ryan really idolises him. He makes no secret of the fact that he's his type of player. Brian Batiste, good work by Batiste. Langmack, this young colt, making a big run down to the 32, down to the 22. It took a Taylor special to cut him down. But Canterbury are boiling up to another try, are they? As Steve Mortimer is tackled by Taylor. 5 tackles gone. Can Parramatta hold out as they come to the half-time break. Michael Hagan gets inside Taylor. He looked like a tired fullback. Callanan is tackled by Price. That's the turnover. The third in the match. And Parramatta again find themselves in familiar territory. Inside their own territory, inside their own 22. Cronin's been totally bottled up, the man with the ball. Kenny has been sweated upon. It's been a thoroughly enthusiastic and totally committed performance by Canterbury. And it's not that Parramatta has played badly. I believe very much the other is the right way of putting it. Wynn to Mosley to Sterling, a torpedo ball out to Hunt. Hunt goes ahead, draws them. Growth goes down the sideline. Steve Mortimer comes at him. Oh, great tackle by the Archbishop. Growth into touch. Have a look at the little fellow. And didn't tell me that you've seen too many better cover defenders than him. Bring them on as big as you like. Steve Mortimer will axe them down. It's like Steve's cramped in that leg muscle, or just below it. Yep. Graham, give me a comment on this breeze. Originally it looked like it was gusting strongly, but then it seems to just filter away to nothing.
Well, I can't really see it having much bearing on the second half, Ray. It's at the start of the match it was a lot stronger than what it is now, and quite simply at the present time it's really just died.
Well, that's the way it looked from here, and we can only measure, of course, from the flags on top of the uprights. As we find the scrum won by Canterbury, it's been recalled. Just 1 second to the siren. And there is the siren. He's decided not to pack the scrum. And at half-time in the elimination final of the Winfield Cup Premiership, Canterbury leading Parramatta 4 points to 0. Ella is off for Parramatta. Tunks is off for Canterbury. And welcome back to the Sydney Cricket Ground for the second half of the action between Canterbury and Parramatta. A beautiful day in Sydney. The crowd down on last weekend, but still probably around 30,000. There's the Canterbury tackle count, 120 in all, and gee, it's been an outstanding part of the day's proceedings, the Canterbury defence. The two hookers leading the tackle counts, both with 17, and there's the Parramatta count there. But I'm totally convinced it's been the defence of Canterbury that's played the major part in that scoreline of 4-0. It's filtered away to almost nothing. Bill, what do you suppose, firstly, John Money would have said to the Parramatta team?
Well, Parramatta have got to try to come up with some alternatives to counter the Canterbury Bankstown defence, because that's what's keeping the Bulldogs in the game, and I would think he'd be looking to get his back line a little deeper and execute a varied kicking game to try to break the Canterbury Bankstown defence up.
And Warren Ryan?
He'd be more than happy with the way things are going. Control the ball for 6 tackles and tackle for 6.
So Canterbury on 4 tackles have taken it to almost the 40-metre line, and then a little pass by Steve Morton to Billy Johnston. Sees the hooker running high, wide and handsome.
And once again it was that little skip out of dummy half where Canterbury were able to make the break, and then they carried it on. The Parramatta defence around the rucks isn't strong.
Oh, Taylor stood his ground, but he was bombarded by a Canterbury hit that must have nearly shook the Bradman stand behind him. Have a look at it again on the NEC replay. It was Andrew Farrer really driving in, but Taylor, he was magnificent, the little Parramatta number 1. Teams across Australia have their number 1 supporters, and I doubt that there's any better supporter of the Bulldogs than this man, Tony Roach.
Tony, a great start by the side.
Gee, they're playing great, aren't they?
And you are, of course, biased.
Well, I am a little biased, but I think they're playing much better today, and hopefully they can keep it up for the next 40 minutes.
How long have you been following the Bulldogs now?
Well, when I first came down to Sydney when I was 15, so I'm 40 now, so a long time.
The defence was enormous in the first half.
Tremendous, and also making a lot of runs from dummy half, and so hopefully they can keep that up and put a little pressure on them.
Before they crossed off, you mentioned about Billy Johnston having a great game.
Great game, and Langmack, I thought, had a great first half.
Yeah, well, all right. Can they hang on?
I think so, yeah. I felt confident before the game, and even more so now.
And you've been hoping for an Ivan Lendl performance.
Right. Keep on going.
Thanks, Tony.
Sounded like a committee meeting of the Bulldogs there. Anyway, Roche, of course, is totally committed to the Bulldogs' cause. They're going good for him too at the moment. Here's Michael Potter, tackled by Neil Hunt. Continues to want to batter themselves by trying to ruck it out for 5 and then kicking. This Canterbury defence is not letting them go far enough on 5.
They're aggravating that situation. If you are going to try to ruck the ball out, you've got to hit the ball up hard, take it up with authority, get over the advantage line and drive it forward. That's not happening. Parramatta, as they try to ruck the ball out, are losing ground in possession.
And the wrong blokes are taking it out from dummy half too, Bill. We've got big slow men trying to take it out. When they're well organised, you'll find the Kennys and the faster men coming in. Taylor, Sterling's taking it away. The wingers. Here's Mortimer now, setting it up, probing for the opening. That's all right. That's play on. This is Peter Mortimer. Inside for Hagan. Back across the ground. It'll bounce again for Parramatta. Well, Price has got it. I'm trying to work out why Jerd didn't pick it up. Mosley's got the ball now. Might have been an optical illusion. But I could have sworn Jerd could have picked that ball up. Here's Kenny now. He's looking for some open pasture, but it's not coming.
Well, they're the situations in previous weeks where Parramatta have been able to spread the ball and get it quickly out to the flanks. But we can see there that Kenny got the ball 2 passes out, and what he had to do was head back in field because his outside supports were shut out by the umbrella Canterbury Bankstown defence moving up quickly.
Well, Parramatta's just doing stupid things here. They're absolutely bumbling their way around out there. People getting involved that obviously shouldn't be involved, or people calling the play and not knowing what play is supposed to be on.
That's when you need someone to walk in the middle of the ruck and call my ball and then take it up and then get someone else to do exactly the same thing and get you going forward. But at the moment, Parramatta can't find someone who will take the ball for them forward and take it forward aggressively.
And as you said, you've got to go forward before you do anything else. And this man playing the ball is Michael Hagan. Played back to Steve Mortimer. Across now to Michael Potter. And Potter is tackled 32 metres out.
The strange thing, whenever you're playing against Parramatta and you can be leading, as Canterbury Bankstown are now, to the tune of 4-0, but whenever you're the coach, you always have the feeling against Parramatta that they're not playing well, and we are, but you know you can lose the match because they've got so many players in the back line that can just stick a try on you and all of a sudden shut you out.
This is Hagan slipping away from a Price tackle. Wynn and Mosley coming in, doing their share of defensive work. It wouldn't surprise me to see Parramatta make a replacement in the forward shortly. Here's Batiste striding inside the quarter, picking up Steve Folkes, supporting, but Price is there to make the tackle together with Kenny. 5 are gone now for Canterbury, and here's Steve Mortimer going to the air as Kenny went for the charge down. The chase is on David Lydiard. Oh, he's lost the ball. It's a try. Scored by young Matthew Callanan. Lydiard had it, but it just popped out. There's the kick from Steve Mortimer from just outside the 22 line. Lydiard had it, and then out she pops. The Canterbury players even indicated that maybe they were in front of the kicker because they all hesitated outside the 5, but of course once Lydiard played at it, they can please themselves what they do, particularly in the instance that you're watching now.
It was a good bomb by Mortimer, but I thought that the Parramatta players left Lydiard one out in these very big in goals. He couldn't hold it, and a good reward for Callan to come through after the ball.
Well, is that the ball game? 35 minutes of the match remaining, and Callanan scores the try. Surely must make him very pleased, Ryan, the coach. But 8-0, it's not necessarily enough against Parramatta, particularly in a final. Farah's had the one kick. Actually, the one he missed earlier was easier than this one. Price laying down the law. There's not much he can say to them really, apart from the fact that they failed to give Lydiard protection. That's exactly his angle. Andrew Farrer hits it. It looks good. It's a beautiful kick from Farrer. That makes the scoreline so much more impressive. 10-0 to Canterbury. Potter. Peter Mortimer across the ground. Chris Mortimer, good run. Callanan.
And once again, that's an example of the Canterbury Bankstown backs playing like forwards. They just took the ball 2 passes. Mortimer hit onto it, and he was able to make a very small break. Smith slipped a pass to Callanan, and Canterbury unlucky not to go on with it.
Sterling's got the ball for Parramatta. On the halfway line. Price. He's lost it. Canterbury have it, but I think he'll rule a double knock on. He has. And the scrum will go down just on the Parramatta side of halfway. There we are, the St George Dragons waiting for next weekend, enjoying every moment of today. There's been nothing out there really, I suppose, to worry them. Canterbury's defence, of course, very strong, but I do know for a fact St George were much more confident. There's the official attendance, but St George were much more confident of playing Canterbury than they were of playing Parramatta. Johnston again winning the scrum, and Steve Mortimer tackled by Price and Taylor. Hagan, and here's that one pass off the ruck, and we get a centre standing deep and hitting it up. Now it's Potter. Cronin and Price making the tackle. Steve Mortimer. Zipping away. Inside 22. David Gillespie. He'll score. Gillespie scores for the Bulldogs. The defending premiers now can get in the queue for the grand final. Their 3rd try. The blue and white starting to carve the Eels apart now. But it was this little man, Mortimer, who zipped in and away. And then he looked for runners as he came to Sterling. Big David Gillespie was there, running like a steam engine. In fact, he almost got booked for speeding on the way.
Well, it's around the ruck that all the damage has been done, either from dummy half or one off the ruck, and that was where Mortimer went. He headed back through that area, found Gillespie in support. Gillespie had to shrug off a tackle, which he did, and over he goes for what I think's the match winner.
Well, there he is, David Gillespie, the try scorer. And he'd get a great thrill out of that, let me tell you. Parramatta. Worried looks on the faces of most of their senior players. They're not quite sure how to counter this. But you come back to that terminology handed down by most coaches. Victories are built on defence. Strong defence, and the points will naturally come. 14-0 in favour of Canterbury. 30 minutes to go, and Farrer should get this. He hooked it, he's missed it. 14 points to 0 now. Canterbury leading Parramatta. Cronin prepares to restart as his cousin Peter Ford comes to the sidelines. This is Langmack. In which Parramatta forward will come off. I think it could well be Stan Jerd. This is Gillespie in and away from Sharp and Jerd. Laurie around the legs. Peter Wynn over the top. A good run by Gillespie. A good contribution since he came on to replace Tunks. This is Kelly. That's the halfway line you see. Now Batiste. Laurie around the legs again. 5 gone for Canterbury. But in 5 tackles, they've gone 50 metres. And there's a charge down by Peter Sterling. He picks it up. He's chased and caught by Potter. But the little fellow, typical of his never say die attitude, knows that if the Eels are to come back, they have to score and convert quickly to lift the flagging hopes of his teammates. As the ball is about to be played by Ray Price. Back to Sharp. Across to Sterling. Now to Mosley. Mosley tackled by Steve Folkes. 3 tackles gone. Taylor's the dummy half. Sterling, Brett Kenny inside, and Cronin can't find it. It's been picked up by Sterling. That's a knock on, he says.
Peter Sterling hasn't had a bad game for Parramatta. He's been more than solid, but in that chase, he looked also as if he's still being troubled by the injury which he suffered during the week.
Stan Jerd coming from the field. Peter Ford has gone on. So Peter Wynn has gone to the front row. A lot of weight in that Canterbury scrum now. By comparison with Parramatta, as Parramatta gets a penalty for feet across. First penalty in the match. In fact, it's the first scrum penalty in the match that I can recall. I was about to say it's the first penalty against the Hookers for feet across, but in fact I think it's the first for incorrect feet or feet across. It is. Oh, beautiful tackle by Langmack. Well, he's ruled the ball was knocked backwards. That surprises me. Peter Wynn takes it to within 15 metres of the line. Ball played back to Taylor. Away to Kenny, now to Cronin. Short ball for Neil Hunt. And Hunt has tackled 8 metres out from the line. Played back to Mosley. Across to Sterling. Sterling is tackled. He fell over, in fact, before being dived upon by Andrew Farrer. Now it's Taylor at ruck half. This man is forward. And Parramatta have used up 5 tackles. They're 10 metres out as Mosley finds Sterling. Sterling goes for the air. Good bomb. And beautifully taken by this young man, Callanan. Well, there it is. The take by Matthew Callanan. He's already scored a try. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. And here's a loose ball from Canterbury. Callanan again is there. Equal to the task. They're on their own line. Langmack tackle. That's 4 tackles going for Canterbury. And Langmack clutching at a thigh muscle.
I'm sure he'll be okay.
Paul Langmack is clutching at the upper part of the hamstring. But if he's pulled that muscle, there's no way he can continue. Be no need to continue really with a 14-0 scoreline, 25 to go. With the depth they have on the bench. I hope he hasn't pulled it, because it's a nasty one. No, he's all right. He's in good health. Steve Mortimer to play it. Here's the missed tackle count, 23 Parramatta, 11 for Canterbury. And falling back to take it is Eric Growth. Met by Brian Batiste and by Michael Hagan. Now Sterling, Neil Hunt, Cronin. Out the back for Lydiard. Kelly's got him right on the halfway line. Ford. Penalty to Canterbury. He's ruled against Ford for handling the ball in the play the ball. He's ruled that Peter Mortimer was in fact a marker. $14-0. Canterbury with 3 tries. And a break made by Brian Batiste. Mortimer pursued. Now it's with Gillespie.
All of the critics would have...
Gillespie! Gillespie! Still going! Still a chance! Oh! Callanan puts it down.
Well, all of the critics would have agreed that if Canterbury were going to win this game, it was on a forward platform they'd have to build it on, and that's exactly where they've done it. We can see here that time after time, Canterbury have broken the first line of defence, and it was unfortunate here for Callanan. The pass was a little bit high to him from Gillespie. It went over the top. He couldn't quite handle it, and the try went begging.
That was good work by this replacement for Canterbury, David Gillespie. Lost his place in the side to Steve Folkes. And since he's come on, not only has he scored a try, he's made some punishing tackles and some devastating runs. And this is a penalty to Parramatta against Canterbury for screwing the scrum. Mosley. Now it's Ford. Sterling. Kenny. Laurie. 10 metres on his own side of the halfway. There's tactics in the scrum, Graham, from Canterbury, as far as you're concerned, are quite predictable.
Well, I think that's a penalty that Kevin Roberts might have even picked them up on a lot earlier in the match. And that's probably why that, of course, we've seen the scrums go against the feed from Michael Mosley. What Canterbury are doing is the lock forward is screwing the scrum towards the open side where the backs are standing. And what that does, of course, is open the scrum where Sterling is feeding the ball for his side, and it closes out his own hooker.
Sterling with the ball now. Just a little bit of a altercation or a spar up with Peter Kelly. As we find Potter getting away from one, but taken by Hunt and Sterling in the second. Next Sunday, we'll be commencing our telecast at 10 o'clock as Steve Mortimer makes another break.
That is just too easy. Mortimer went through some flimsy defence. It's almost as if the Parramatta players weren't there.
There's Gillespie again. This next Sunday we'll start at 10 o'clock with our grand final coverage. We'll go right through the 23s live, the reserves live, and of course the uninterrupted coverage of first grade. Commercial free, the first grade telecast. And we'll show you all the rugby league and all the grand final entertainment. Michael Hagan is pulled down now by Sharp. Tonight we'll have our grand final preview for you immediately following this telecast. We'll be talking to the winners and the losers, getting their opinions on what might happen next Sunday. As Folkes makes a big run. Langmack backs up. So does Chris Mortimer. So does Billy Johnston. And Johnston scores another cricket ground try. Great backing up by Canterbury. Look at the smile on little Billy Johnston. He loves to score tries anywhere, but He seems to make a specialty of scoring them at the SCG. And what a fight he's put up this year. There were those that didn't think he should be in the side in front of Mark Bugden. But he's come to the fore and he's held down the position under great pressure. Langmack, Chris Mortimer, Steve Folkes and Billy Johnston, they were the men who combined to score this Canterbury try.
It was great play by Canterbury. Peter Wynn was the marker, but Folkes just skipped out of that area. He went through a tackle. He found Paul Langmack inside. I suppose the ball should have been stopped there, but Langmack got his hands free, put it back to Chris Mortimer. He was able to pop up a pass to Billy Johnson, who'd done well to back up and score between the uprights.
Well, the Bulldogs giving the Eels a complete hammering. Leading 4-0 at the break. They now have stretched that to 18-0 with the try by Johnston, and still a kick from right in front to come for Andrew Farah. The crowd leaving in their thousands now as they realise that Parramatta has come to their end, and Canterbury Bankstown will play St George in the grand final. Farah converts. Canterbury 20, Parramatta 0. This is the NEC final. So next Sunday, just reminding you, a 10 o'clock start to our telecast, going right through the day. The under-23s, David Fordham will commentate on that match. Wayne Pearce will join him. The reserves, Billy J. Smith, will broadcast that for you. And he'll have the services of Wayne, Bill and Graham with him. And I'll be joining you for first grade at around 3 o'clock. But as I said, all the entertainment of grand final day, plus the complete coverage of the 3 grades, starting at 10 o'clock next Sunday. And right up in front of that at the end of this telecast, our grand final preview, mainly centering around the teams that have played today and how they see next weekend. 23s, and George will play Parramatta in the grand final. In reserves, St George will play Canberra, their first ever grand final, the Raiders. I wonder, will that be the start? The start of a great chain of good things happening for the Raiders. This is Brett Kenny now. This is Neil Hunt. Ooh. Driving tackle again from David Gillespie. Cross now for Sterling, and a charge down by Folkes, picked up by Ford to Price to Lydiard. Lydiard again, young Callanan equal to the task. Mosley, this is Peter Wynn, spearing it out to Sterling. Across now for Laurie. Laurie trying to hammer his way into an opening. Knocked down by Mortimer. Eric Groth's got the ball, and that's 6 more tackles for Parramatta. I didn't see him nullify the tackle count, Roberts.
Well, Canterbury Bankstown have had their problems over the last few weeks, but Warren Ryan's going to have problems of a different kind this week. He's going to have problems of selection because Gillespie's had a great game since he came on, couldn't be left out of the side.
So this will be a penalty to Parramatta. He's ruled that Peter Sterling was knocked over late by Peter Kelly. On the replay, I think you'll see that Sterling is more or less foxed for this penalty. Kelly saw him coming, turned a gentle shoulder to him, and Sterling obligingly ran into it.
Mr. Alan Doherty, would you please go to the police officer?
20 points to 0. Canterbury with 4 tries. No need to say any more. They've been by far and away the better side. Penalty to Canterbury. Saturday night, of course, don't forget the documentary that Graham and Alan have been putting together called March to September. That's to screen next Saturday on Grand Final Eve between 5 and 6. on Channel 10 in Sydney. Replacement for Graham, replacement for Canterbury, Graham.
Phil Sigsworth in 19 on the sideline. It'll be for Steve Mortimer.
This man is Potter now. He's just inside the 32 line. Still 14 and a half minutes of time remaining. With Potter playing it. And the defending premiers kicking down the ground, sending Taylor back with growth. Growth caught on his own quarterway. Scrums 8-5 to Canterbury. Penalties 8-3 to Parramatta. This is Cronin. Now Sterling. Ray Price. And away now for Growth. Down the sideline, inside for Lydiard. That's a forward pass inside. Meant for Neil Hunt. Advantage applies. Langmack pushes it back through Hagan to Chris Mortimer. Over the halfway to Callanan. Callanan down to the 32, tackled by Brett Kenny. Batiste. Kelly just inside the 22. Kelly is clutching at the hip or hamstring area. And Sigsworth has gone on. Steve Mortimer comes from the field of play. Graham Hughes is down there. He's going to talk to Steve Mortimer now.
Stevie, enormous performance by the side.
Great side, great performance here, Graham. Very proud of him.
Big effort from the forwards especially.
Great effort, mate. I love them all, mate. Great stuff.
No injury problems?
No, mate. No, slight groin tear. That's all it'll be like.
Well done.
So we thank Steve Mortimer for consenting to talk to us. I was going to say in the heat of the moment, but there's very little heat out there for Canterbury. It's been a most pleasurable day for them. That came off an eel. This will be play on with 6 more tackles, or maybe not. No, it's not. He's ruled the turnover. He's claimed that the ball was not played at by the Parramatta player. Not enough to nullify the tackle count. Sharp plays it. This is Price. They've certainly done some tough work there today. The Eels inside their own 22 against a defensive cordon that, well, I'm not sure, but I don't think I've seen it broken cleanly in the entire match.
It's been an absolute brick wall.
Well, here's a break down the sideline by Lydiard. He's gone back into the middle of the pitch. Here comes the cover. This is going to hurt. Lydiard tackled by Sigsworth in the 19, Potter in the 1. Here's Sterling. Sterling's inside the quarter, still going, this little fellow. He's tried his stomach out today in vain as Wynn flick passes back on the inside, and Canterbury have got the ball.
Parramatta are probably due for a consolation try, but I think the best gauge of how good the Canterbury Bankstown defence has been is the fact that the Parramatta backs just have not got the ball out to their flanks once in a flowing backline movement.
Well, looking at the performance of Folkes and Gillespie today, I'm wondering will Warren Ryan persevere?
Couldn't leave Gillespie out of the side.
I was just going to say, I wonder will he persevere with this idea of putting Tunks on for 20 or 30 minutes and depriving, say, a Gillespie. Here's another bust for Canterbury as this very talented player, Langmack, goes down the ground, finds Callanan. But to me, you're better off starting with the 13 that you know really are going to do the job right through. And, gee, I think St George would be quite concerned. Well, they'd have some concern about this defensive effort from Canterbury today. And with the Gillespies and Folkes in the side, Langmax, Batiste, Johnston, gee, you've got a pack of forwards that'll tackle their insides out, and they're going to have to do plenty of it against St George. Well, they're my thoughts. I'd be starting with them, but of course they'll probably start with Peter Tunks and replace him after 20-25 minutes.
I doubt it.
This is sharp. Well, of course they did it in the grand final last year before they brought out Daryl Broman, wasn't it? Well, who can argue with his tactics? He's the grand final coach winner, the defending champion coach, if you like. And of course Warren Ryan, he'll make his decisions coming up the next Sunday, and he'll probably make the right ones. But it's hard to see how you can leave Gillespie on the bench and start with a man that you think will probably only give you 20-25 minutes. This is Peter Mortimer, pulled down by Growth. Greg Mullane stretching on the sidelines. This is Kelly. Strong performance by him. Here's Gillespie. Mullane coming on, Graham, is he?
Well, at half-time, they were doing a check on Andrew Farrer, who took that knock, leg injury early in the first half. If remember, he was down for some time. I would suggest that's who it probably is for.
This is Batiste. Like to have 6 like him, wouldn't you? Batiste. Chris Mortimer's kick. Right down the ground from Chris. I'm not sure what his brother said to him as he went from the field, but he was the last bloke he spoke to outside of Graham Hughes. He said something to Chris Mortimer, and he looked like he meant it. I reckon he said to Chris, "You make sure we play the game in their half. Just remember who you're playing. Don't give them anything that looks like an even break." Here's Ford. Parramatta getting a replacement out. Yes, Graham.
Ron Quinn on the sideline for Brett Kenny.
Is that Broman down there near the gate?
Yes, Broman as well. I just wonder, I can't see any injury concern, although of course Peter Kelly went down only about 5 or 10 minutes ago. That might be for Kelly.
Here's Growth getting a favourable bounce, but the referee had already ruled the ball was passed forward. 8 1/4 minutes of time remaining. There's Brett Kenny coming from the field. Ron Quinn goes out as Canterbury send Daryl Broman to the sidelines. And Broman takes the field in 26.
Kevin.
Kelly comes off, a smile on his face. Why not? Why not? Words of encouragement from Kelly for the Canterbury players. Daryl Broman, 26. Could well go down in the record books as the best reserve forward ever to have played the game on a consistent basis.
Well, these aren't normally the situations you see Daryl come into a game. He's a creator of play rather than someone to wrap a game up for you. But Warren Ryan obviously is giving him the opportunity to prove that he is worthy of an opportunity or a chance next week at some stage.
Farrer, Chris Mortimer, Matthew Callanan. Here comes Ray Price. Callanan beats Price. Having a brilliant game, this young man, Matthew Callanan. That's a moment in rugby league that he will long remember. He's already scored a try, but to fend off the champion lock forward Ray Price and to score a second try in a final is a moment that he will cherish and remember for years and years to come. Watch it again. He switches the ball to the right arm. He fends off Ray Price and picks up his second try.
It was good play by Canterbury here, particularly by Paul Langmack. We can see that he took the pass, he drew and then gave. The ball went on to Farrer. Farrer quickly turned the ball back onto Mortimer. Mortimer did well also. He drew the outside defence, fired the ball on to Callanan, who switched hands. He hit Price just on the right shoulder and crosses for something that, as Ray says, he'll remember forever.
There he is. What a dream game for him. solid under the pressure of the bomb. He's tackled as much as he's had to, and 2 tries. And Ray Price looking down saying, what happened there? Farrow from the sideline. Mark Bugden, the man who actually tore the heart out of the Eel last year with that runaway try in the second half, replaces Billy Johnston. And I guess they're in with Steve Mortimer, Peter Kelly and Billy Johnston replaced. Warren Ryan has shown his hand of congratulations. The kick from Farah is just, well, it was short in fact. No change, 24 points to 0, and Canterbury have scored their 5th try. You're watching the NEC final from the cricket ground. Graham Hughes.
Billy, another great performance, and you'll have this SCG, another try.
Yes, mate, I like them tries, yeah. It's good to get, well, it looks like we're in the grand final, mate, and it's my first one. I'm really looking forward to it.
These Canterbury forwards, that's a great comeback after last week.
Oh, mate, I think we'll give it to St George next week too.
I'll leave you with that. Well played. Thanks, Ray. Billy Johnston.
Yeah, Billy Johnson, one of the game's really likeable characters. He's a man that I've got a hell of a lot of time for. You've got to admire blokes that seem like they're down and out of sorts, but they hang in there, they fight back to the top, and then they cap it with a grand final jumper. Good one, Billy Johnston. This is Hagan. Well, on today's showing, it would seem pretty obvious that the right 2 sides are playing next Sunday. Broman into Hagan, into Potter. Potter tackled, the ball lost, picked up by Sterling. Back slam by Chris Mortimer. Neil Hunt. Just a reminder, we'll have our grand final preview. In fact, we'll extend very much our telecast tonight. Bill will be carrying out his man of the match duties in the dressing rooms, and we'll follow that with grand final paraphernalia through until 8:30. And for Sydney viewers, big movie coming up for you with Sylvester Stallone and First Blood. Old Rambo himself. In fact, I think First Blood might have been drawn right out here. It's only a replay tonight. Scrum just outside the 22. Hagan is now feeding the scrums. Sigsworth at 5/8. And here's a penalty to Parramatta. Scrum penalties coming quite frequently in the second half. 24-0 in favour of Canterbury. And let me repeat once more of our grand final coverage. Certainly a sincere invitation to join us from 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll go right through, cover everything that moves. If we have to stay here till midnight, we'll be here. The cameras at the Sheraton Wentworth, at the St George Leagues Club, where a couple of big grand final breakfasts have been organised. 23's grand final live. Your commentator David Fordham with Wayne Pearce. The reserves with Billy J. Smith, joined by Wayne Pearce, Bill Anderson, Graham Hughes. Graham McNeice will be joining us to cover the entertainment on the ground. You won't miss a beat of next Sunday's big grand final for the Winfield Cup. This is Mark Lowry to play it right on the halfway line. This is Peter Sterling now getting inside Broman, puts the kick in, charged down by Batiste, taken by Wynn. 6 more tackles. Price, long ball, and Ford has put it down. Chris Mortimer's got it. They'll play it as quickly as possible and get on with it. Now it's Bugden. Bugden gets it out the back, picked up by Broman. Broman stretches the play to Gillespie. Gillespie wrestling with Quinn, gets the ball back, and it's Parramatta's ball, but it's being knocked on. Hagan. Sigsworth. Sterling going back quickly, trying to prevent try number 6. Callanan is there to tackle him and put him down in goal. It'll be a line dropout. A penalty to Canterbury. He's ruled players in front of Sterling when he took the line drop out.
Well, Sterling did everything right then, except he played as an individual. He knew that he could kick the ball 10 metres and get it back, but what he forgot was that some of his players were still streaming back onside. Consequently, they had to be penalised.
The seconds ticking away. You can hear the crowd counting them down. Well, they were. Until Roberts called some timeout. But precisely 9 seconds remaining in this elimination final. Canterbury will join St George here on Rugby League's great day. There is no more thrilling thing can happen in a rugby league player's career than to play in a grand final, particularly if you can win it. The siren has sounded and Canterbury Bankstown has annihilated Parramatta by 26 points to 0. 26-0, the victory by Canterbury, who in fact started as outsiders for this match today. Callanan, what a debut to major final football for this youngster, Matthew Callanan. 2 tries. Tunks, Gillespie, Johnston tries. Farah 3 goals. And Parramatta remained scoreless.